If you find a group of thugs on the streets of Gotham, and usually post-game is the best way to do this, get the freeze grenade or somehow just stick them in place right next to a wall or almost on one of the barriers you can see the ocean. Up to you. Maybe even a high vantage point. Get the Batmobile, park it next to him, rev it up, and just go straight into that frozen thug. Keep trying it, get a group of them if you can. You can eventually just dismember it, just break their bones, there's no hospital bill that's gonna fix this. Look at him. We call it the Giraffe Man. Batman doesn't need to be the world's greatest detective to deduce this monstrosity. I mean, come on. That's what no new superhero game does to a fella. You gotta find new ways to torture the thugs of Gotham that are just minding their business. So yeah, let me know if you have ever done this, trying to just break them, using detective mode to see how horrible the injuries are. Glitching these poor thugs throughout the walls and whatnot. I mean, look at this compilation I'm showing you right now. It's just disgusting, man. But I bet Batman would do it too, baby. This is how Mr. TDF died. It's almost Halloween, my dear viewers. So, for a fun and quick video, I'm gonna reminisce about a game that makes me feel old. Old as in my back is decrepit, hurting, crack-a-lackin', painful. And my hands shake more, and my eyes hurt. And my breath kinda smells because I'm getting old. You see, 10 years ago was 2015 when a little game called batmanarkhamknight released. And now, a decade later, it's 2025. The Arkham community is as insane as ever, perhaps more. At least we got Arkham Shadow that kind of fixed our wounds. But regardless, Arkham Knight. A big game when it came out, and still a big game a decade later. It's one that still feels like it hasn't been matched in some regards, at least in terms of the scale and intensity it had of marketing and the sheer just weight and gravitas of the game in its open world. Like, sure, there are games that have way bigger open worlds than Arkham Knight, but how many games that you just drive around the Batmobile and beat up crooks, huh? And Arkham Knight being the finale to the Arkham series at the time, and I mean, it still is, let's be real. Origins, Asylum, City, and Night. I really love Arkham Knight, even 10 years later. I know there's a lot of fans that will still give you gripes about the whole Red Hood and Arkham Knight twist. The fact that Joker's back, things like the boss fights not being the greatest, or how the Bat family was still rather underused. But I will say this, I always feel like the Arkham games, to each their own, were never really supposed to be a big, coherently intricate Batman story, if that makes sense. I mean, again, these are video games, not movies or books. As for a video game, the Arkham games always played it kind of loose. At least loose in terms of you're jumping into the world of Batman. They're taking bits of the comics. Like, if you read the character bios in these games, are almost always from the comics. Unless, Red Hood. But nonetheless, I always felt like the Arkham games were more so about just the experience of being Batman and just beating up a new bad guy every hour, right? One of my favorite examples of this is how in Arkham City, there's that section where you go from fighting Penguin and beating Solomon Grundy, you get Mr. Freeze's suit back, and in that same, time span, right, you have Mr. Freeze telling Batman about the potential for a cure against the Titan disease, and then you see one of racist Al Ghul's ninjas cosplaying ninjas, break out of her display at the museum, and then Batman has to chase her. And while he chases her, then Robin appears, but not just any Robin, the Tim Drake Robin. Gives him the line launcher. Batman continues his pursuit, and then you can have Killer Croc potentially spawn in, and then before you know it, you're in the sewers fighting all these guys, leading up to a racist Al Ghul boss fight, and yada yada. I always felt like the Arkham games are just the comics and whatever you like on steroids. Just a big wild ride. And I still feel like the most coherently, made plot that's just, you can really jump into without thinking, wait, why is this all happening, and yada yada. Probably Asylum, and probably Origins too. Origins is pretty low-key with its plot by, having 8 assassins. Actually worked pretty well for an excuse to have him fight a bunch of villains early in his career. And Asylum, well, villains are breaking out. It's Arkham Asylum, another day at the office. But City and Night really take things to a different level of its scale, and having much more dramatic character scenes and some deaths. Not to say Origins didn't, because Origins definitely did that. I think Origins is probably my favorite story besides Asylum in the franchise. But in terms of Night and City, it's Rocksteady being on steroids, because Rocksteady only made the original 3 games of Asylum, City, and Night. but I feel like the way they built off each other was nice. You know, City, if I get to explore part of Gotham, and every time I go back to City these days, I'm always caught off by how small that little piece of Arkham City really is. There's a lot to do in it, of course, but it's really small, and even if Night, like I said, Night's not the biggest open world you find of a AAA game, but it's one that works well for Batman himself and the Batmobile. Every time I get in the Batmobile, it doesn't matter if I check the map, there's always some new tunnel, a new rooftop to jump off of, a new area, a new bridge to take on, and taking on all of the crime lords and everybody involved, the militia and everybody. I feel like the Gotham we see in Arkham Knight is brilliant. You know, it's just enough gothic where I like it. It has a bit of a more modern look. It has a part of the city that's under construction. They're building a new, like, what I would assume would eventually become, like, the Batman Beyond part of Gotham. You know what I mean? And you get classics like the Clock Tower, the GCPD. You get to see Wayne Manor and Arkham City off in the distance. And, of course, the Asylum. I feel like the Gotham we got Arkham Knight was really good. In terms of mission structure, it felt nice. Of course, I always want more, you know, I always wish that Arkham Knight had even more villains. And I feel like Batman, of all the video game characters you could adapt, he has the easiest job of giving you more villains to fight, because, like, with Spider-Man, his villains usually have their own power set you gotta, you know, really account for. You can't really always put that in a side quest without, you know, I guess breaking the budget to the game or whatever. But with Batman, most of his villains you can really just have show up. They got some creepy gimmick, but they could do something with them and just kind of reskin some animations, and there you go. And the cool thing with Arkham Knight is the fact that even once you get done with all the malicious stuff, you know, I get it, people don't like the Bat Tank and all that. I don't mind it these days. There's some really good parts, and there's some parts that are kind of frustrating, like the Arkham Knight Driller fight that is somewhat terrifying and somewhat frustrating at the same time. And then you got stuff like the, what do you call it, the Cloudburst, that I can take it or leave it. But overall, I think the Batmobile handles nicely, and like I said, well, the actual villains in the game, once you beat all the malicious stuff, there's some really cool encounters. Some deep cuts I didn't even know about at the time, and I'm still learning about, like Deacon Blackfire, Professor Pig, and there's some welcome, finally, like, appearances, like Man-Bat and the teaser of She-Bat. Like, I'll never forget playing with my brother a long time ago, right? Sitting at, like, a small TV the summer Arkham Knight came out. We're grappling around with, finally, like, we get that jump scare of Man-Bat just screeching at you, then he flies off. And I remember we were both like, oh, like, that was, you know, like, we jumped back, we got jump scared, right? We were in total shock. And then we looked at each other and we just grinned like idiots, because finally Man-Bat was in a Batman game, you know? At least an Arkham game. And it was nice to see guys like Firefly return from Origins, and of course Deathstroke, but we all know how Deathstroke's fight went. If I had to sum up some of the disappointment of Arkham Knight's boss fights, that would be Deathstroke. Like, yeah, you do fight him in a tank, but it's like, they didn't even call it, like, they had a chance to call it the stroking tank, or the death tank, because it's Deathstroke, but no, he just, once you beat him, he jumps out and Batman one-shots him, because Batman has that titanium armor, those super joints, and he can just move faster than the speed of light now, or whatever. He's fear itself. And Hush is another one that's just completely goofy. Like, it's hilarious if you watch the Hush takedown in slow-mo. You pick him up, you slam him to a desk, and he doesn't get to be thrown to the GCPD. Like, you'd think he would be thrown in jail because everybody knows who Batman is. Like, actually, you know what? Of all times for Hush to appear, like, I don't even like Hush that much, but like, his appearance in City is kind of goofy in hindsight. It's a great set of side missions, but he just shows Batman who he is, his Bruce Wayne face. But then Arkham Knight, the one night he decides to act, is a night that Batman gets unmasked. It's like, okay, you know, what are you trying to think, buddy? Like, good job. But without that, you know, the Azrael stuff was cool. I still wish they actually gave us Nightfall armor. And then all the other missions, such as Killer Croc and, you know, Penguin, Two-Face, Mad Hatter and Racist Al Ghul, seeing everybody, and Mr. Freeze that was a highlight. I really liked the Mr. Freeze one. And of course, just seeing a bunch of other villains pop up. You know, you got Riddler and his Metal Gear mech. Catwoman stuff was really cool, and you get some other characters appearing here and there, but overall, I feel like the side content of Arkham Knight was really good. Almost brilliant. But still, a lot of games these days don't even match up to the sheer charisma and bravado and just overall balance between dark and funny that is the Arkham Knight just gameplay loop and all its side characters and storytelling. And when it comes to the Arkham story missions, I think they're all pretty on the same level. Red Hood's is funny for just shooting a bunch of people, and I guess Black Mask was there. Harley's is pretty cool too. You get to fight Nightwing, and then Catwoman's and Nightwing's and Robin's DLC. I'll put all those around the same level. Now, Batgirl's DLC is still good. I just feel like, of all things, that was the one time I really felt Joker fatigue. Like, at least Arkham Knight made it interesting for the fear gas, and that maybe Batman wasn't really poisoned all along. It's just his own fear getting to him this whole time, and that's why that finale of Batman fighting against the Joker and saving the day, even at the cost of his own secret identity, still holds up pretty well. But the Batgirl DLC with just Joker and Harley again, okay, cool, whatever. The level you get is pretty cool, and you get that one thug talking about the big enchilada. Like, I love the thugs in this series, man. Like, yeah, big enchilada. Oh yeah, good guy. But come on, Joker again. Only saving grace is more screen time for Tim Drake's Robin, and of course Batgirl herself. And then you get Joker wearing an outfit that's a mix between his origins and asylum designs. All that's fine and dandy. I just wish that they really let some other big villain have the spotlight for an Arkham story that was already bigger than the other ones, you know what I mean? Like, this one should have been about, like, oh, I don't know, Solomon Grundy, or even Clayface. Like, let Clayface go big in the new, you know, the Unreal Engine that Arkham Knight was in or something. Or even I don't know, could have had, like, more backstory on, like, oh, I don't know, who's a good villain? I mean, I even would have taken, like, a Riddler DLC, you know, or even somebody like, I guess Penguin, because, you know, now that Arkham Shadow's out, we have more screen time for Two-Face, and then Scarecrow is already the bad guy of Arkham Knight, and, you know, unless you want to really spice it up and just bring up some new villain we hadn't seen in the Arkham series before for the Batgirl DLC, that would have been much preferred. But regardless, I think that when it comes to the other side content of Arkham Knight, like all the challenges and outfits, it's pretty fantastic. There's some outfits I wish we would have had, you know, of course I always want some more. But I think that as it stands, a pretty brilliant selection. I just wish that maybe Catwoman, Nightwing, and Robin, and Azrael had some more outfits. For Azrael, like I said, I wish he had his damn Nightfall outfit. Like, come on, how's that not there? And the Batmobile has some cool missions for itself too, right? We got that one Scarecrow, like, homage to Arkham Asylum where you fight a giant Scarecrow. Because, you know, when you're at this era of video games, you have to have a boss fight where this one guy is just towering over you, but you can only fight his upper half, and he has like 3 attacks, right? And he talks crap. Good stuff, good stuff. Then when it comes to Arkham Knight's actual story and the combat, it's still there, right? Amazing combat. Still challenging for all the new enemies they throw at you. Sometimes kind of hard to tell which enemies are which because of how insane the graphics are. But I really like Batman's arsenal. I just wish that his, you know, using his utility belt, his guy just didn't stop the gameplay in its tracks. You know, I'm not playing Resident Evil, I'm wanting to play an Arkham game, so I'd rather have it just on the D-pad, but alas, it's still good. Predator stuff is awesome, all the 2-player stuff where you can do stealth with, like, Robin, Nightwing, Catwoman, or is that one challenge map with Nightwing and Robin, which is pretty cool, and it's all cool. Same with the combat, it's all great. So much variety of the amount of ways you can take down enemies during the stealth Predator encounters, and same with the actual fist-fighting combat. Like I said, the actual boss fights aren't that good. It's a shame that for a game with such brilliant fights, it's a shame for a game with such brilliant Batman combat that there's not really any great physical fights besides, like, what, Albert King, Metal Gear, Riddler, Killer Croc. I wanted some more, man. Same with, like, even the fights of Man-Bat and Firefly and all the other villains. You think they'd at least try a little more. The Two-Face one's funny because you just bully him the entire time. Yeah, take that, Harvey, son of a bitch. And then when it comes to actually, you know, all the Batmobile stuff is fine. Like I talked about the Cloudburst and the Knight's Rizzler, Driller, Bizzler, whatever you want to call it, device. That one's pretty terrifying. But besides that, I'm fine with the story. It's dramatic, it's goofy, it gets really stupid, but I mean, it's kind of tracking after the way Arkham City was going. I mean, Arkham City at least had, you know, Joker death to really hone in how much of a big ending that was. And at this game, it's about the reveal of Batman and how Batman and Bruce are just, you know, they're one guy trying to just get through the night, get past the fear, and keep their loved ones safe. And I think that's still beautiful. Like, all the moments between Gordon and Batman are a real highlight of this game. And all the little stuff for the Bat family is still good. I still wanted more, but still good. And I do think that Arkham Knight as a whole, right? goofy story, kind of all the villains trying to take down Batman, but they don't really ever team up. Scarecrow is just a big Discord moderator, streamer, talking shit on Batman until Riddler takes over. Jonkler is infecting your mind, which is just symbolic of the entire Arkham community. And the Bat family is there, but they're cool whenever they are there. And the Batmobile is still, like, we never had a Batman game since then that let us at least ride the Batmobile like that beyond a Lego game. And all in all, I feel like Arkham Knight, at the end of the day, I can't believe it's been 10 years. There's so much else I could say about it, man. It makes me old. It makes me miss the old days of superhero gaming. Or should I say, at least when superheroes had video games, because even though the Arkham series, of course, was the big, like, most popular one with its originality, there were still tie-in games and whatnot for Spider-Man, you know, X-Men, Wolverine, Hulk, some Iron Man stuff, whatnot. It's always been superhero games, but back then, at least having some, you know, dumb tie-in games that still had some cool merit to them was still something special, and these days you don't really get that, you know, even original games like that Guardians of the Galaxy one didn't go anywhere, and we get some really trash games like Avengers and Suicide Squad, and some games are, you know, I haven't played Gotham Knights, but I assume it's just okay, like I've seen, you know, I've seen whole playthroughs of that game, but it's just okay. I think it's kind of a shame, you know, unless you're Lego, you can't really have a superhero game these days, and it kind of makes you wonder what the Arkham games really stand for. Were they just a one-and-done thing? Were they just a showcase of what Batman means to people, and then now we just have him to go back on, and reflect on, and love on? Or is it possible that a studio can pick this formula up and really do something new with it, right? Whether it's Batman or even a Superman game, Wonder Woman game. Or I even remember that one Justice League game on the PS2 was kind of like Ultimate Alliance, but nah, that was still fun. Why don't they do something like that? Regardless, Arkham Knight, it's been 10 years. Thankfully we had Arkham Shadow to kind of put some band-aids on the wound that was the disastrous Suicide Squad game. But regardless, Arkham Knight, it's been 10 years. I feel old now, like I said. My back hurts all the time now. Life is getting bleaker, but you know what? Look at the way Batman handled it. He grabbed Fear by the throat and told it to screw off, because he is vengeance, he is the knight, he is Batman. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe and check out my channel. Go become a member of my Patreon. It's up to you, the world's your oyster. And this is in a line of my Halloween series for this year, just different slightly horror topics I like because it's spooky season. So let me know in the comments what you like about Arkham Knight. Do you still feel old? Do you still love the game? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know and I'll see you in the next one. Mr. TDF, out.
You think Batgirl can save you? Think again. You better say your prayers, because tonight, it's the big enchilada.
What the hell does that even mean?
It means tonight you die.
I never heard that before. Doesn't even make sense. Where the hell does the Joker even find you clowns?
Yeah, we'll see who's the tough guy in a few minutes.
Yeah? What's in a few minutes?
The big enchilada.
I'm not hungry.
Be quiet.